Welcome back to For the Record. Attorney General Josh Kaul will have a familiar opponent in the race to keep his position as Wisconsin's top cop. Republican Fond du Lac District Attorney Eric Toney announced his candidacy for Wisconsin Attorney General. In 2022, Kaul beat Toney by 35,000 votes. The race was defined by sharp differences about abortion, crime, and election administration. This time around, Toney is positioning himself as tougher on crime than his opponent.
As Attorney General, I will serve all of you. I will defend the law equally, no matter who holds power, and it's time to turn the page and elect an Attorney General that's going to put public safety over politics.
So far, Kaul and Toney are the only two candidates in the race. If that remains the case, they'll go head-to-head on November's next ballot. And a not-so-new Republican hopping into the race for lieutenant governor. Small business owner Will Martin ran for the seat back in 2022, but this time around, he says he's got a better shot.
We had 9 people who were running then. This time around, what I've done differently is I have stuck with it. So for 3.5 years, 100,000 miles across the state in that time frame. So I just really never stopped. I continue to get out here and help the state party, the county parties, etc. So worked on the last 2 constitutional amendments to make sure that we protected voting rights here, ensured that voter ID was required to prove who's voting in our state. So I just continue to be active. That's the big difference now that I'm much better known.
Martin also previously worked under former Republican governors Tommy Thompson and Scott Walker. He's now calling himself a, quote, common sense conservative. So you say common sense conservative. What does that mean to you? It
means having pragmatic solutions. Right now, I think we get too trapped in ideology, and so I'm really focused on making sure state government actually works for the people. That's my focus.
Now, on Martin's campaign website, he listed one of his priorities as, quote, to help the next governor shrink and streamline state government, cut its cost and regulatory burden. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, well, look, we've got 5 agencies that do economic development in the state of Wisconsin. I don't think for a state of under 6 million people, we need 5 agencies to do that. So that's part of what it is. It's also looking at the fact that we've got 2.5 million square feet of office space at a very time when we actually have people working from home. So getting those buildings sold and back on the tax rolls, it's about making sure that we get a slimmer, more streamlined government that actually works for the people again.
And so we're seeing a similar approach with the Trump administration right now. Is that a kind of approach that you would like to take here in Wisconsin?
Well, I want to make sure that it makes sense. And so really looking with the next governor to consolidate agencies. We've got over 70 agencies, departments, commissions, and boards. Again, just don't need that much government. We're actually spending more per capita than half the nation.
Well, if that's half the nation, wouldn't that put Wisconsin kind of right in the middle there?
In the middle, but for a state that's only less than 6 million people.
Now, Martin also says he's concerned by rising housing costs. This is something that the city of Madison is all too familiar with, as we are in a housing crisis with one of the lowest vacancy rates in the country. How would you work with city governments like Madison to make housing more affordable for people?
We've got to look at the zoning and make sure that we're actually incentivizing folks to build. But look, it's over, rents are up over 30% in Milwaukee and other metro areas. I live in Racine. There's very little inventory there as well. So for folks that are trying to start out their lives, we're not even talking about building a new home. A new house, a house, not just a new house, a house in Wisconsin is now $330,000 to $350,000 on average. Young people aren't going to be able to do that.
Martin joins 2 other Republicans in the primary. On the other side of the aisle is Democratic Wisconsin Secretary of State Sarah Godlewski. And next on For the Record, we sit down with the Wisconsin Department of Correction Secretary to talk about plans to revamp the state prisons.